Guten Tag. My name is Darius and this is the world that was. Today I'm going to be recreating a recipe for medieval German apple pie from the Registrum Coquine, the contents of which are suited for a middle to lower class palate in the medieval European world. In any case, let's now take a look at the world that was. To begin making an apple pie, we of course need apples. Though the original recipe doesn't state any particular apple should be used, tart apples tend to make the best filling. I'm using ones out of my garden, so I don't actually know what kind these are, but they're quite tart. Peel your apples and chop them into fairly evenly sized chunks so they'll cook evenly. I've found that about 6 apples would suit a pie fit for about 4 people. When your apples are chopped, go toss some butter or oil into a pot and let it melt. Whenever it's foaming, toss in your freshly grated nutmeg, your cinnamon, and a few cloves, and stir them around so they're all coated in hot butter. You can, of course, use a mortar and pestle to crush your cloves, but I quite enjoy the sensation of biting into a whole clove in each slice. But this is entirely up to you. When your spices have cooked a little to waken up the flavour in them, go toss in your chopped apples. Stir everything around so they're all covered in butter and let it all cook away over a medium heat for a few minutes, until they soften up and turn golden. At this point, take them off the heat and let them rest while you make your dough. You can of course amp up the sweetness by adding a little bit of honey at this stage, like I did. Next, we need to make a very simple dough. Since the original recipe assumes that people already know how to do this, we're just going to be using a cup or two of plain flour mixed with a little bit of water. Add the water little by little until it just about comes together into a cohesive dough. Knead the dough together until it's a smooth ball and roll it out using a rolling pin. You'll need to do this twice, once for the base of the pie and another time for the lid. Roll out the dough until it's very thin, as the whole pie won't be baked for very long. Pour some olive oil, or melted butter, into a pie dish and stretch your pie dough over it, tamping it down with your knuckles into the corners. Pour your cooked apples into the pie dish, spreading it all out evenly. When this is done, place your other circle of dough over the top. Crimp the edges of the 2 discs of dough together. It won't matter if it doesn't look too pretty, because it'll bake wonderfully, and taste delicious either way. When your pie is ready, toss the whole thing into the center of an oven, preheated to about 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes. Or until it's golden brown on top. When the pie is done, take it out of the oven to cool, and whenever it's hit room temperature, divide it up and dig in. Drizzle some honey over the slice you're eating to really amplify its texture. The spices forming a lovely warming sensation with each bite. The texture of the cooked apples is practically melt in your mouth and contrasts with the pie crust. As a side note, the crust itself, once fully cool, is rather tough. However, the crust on the base of the pie has been soaked with juice from the apples while it's been cooking, and as a result is far more palatable than the lid. So, if I were to make this again, I'd either omit the top lid of the pie or just remove it before serving. The spices used in this recipe form the basis for many medieval meals. Cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg being prime imports to the Mediterranean and European world from Asia in this period, adjusting and influencing the development of European cuisine for centuries to come. Although the notion that spices were too costly for the lower classes is an illusion created by the Dark Ages following the decline of the Roman Empire. Spices were readily available at many European markets in urban centres from the later Middle Ages and early Renaissance periods onwards. In any case, I hope you all enjoyed this very quick look at the world that was. If you liked what you saw, please consider leaving a like on this video, or possibly even subscribing to my channel for some more ancient recipes.